Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week we look at a monster heel from the early aughts.
The early aughts. This is like 2003.
Yeah. Well, I mean the mid to late aughts. I didn't mean to say early.
This ain't even the mid to lates. This is like later.
Yeah. I hate the term aughts, but you know what term I do like? The
2000.
dimes.
The dimes? What are we talking about with the dimes
Calling
here?
the 2010s the dimes.
My brother, he's not the 2010s. He's the 20s.
No. I'm enough about Gene Snitsky. We'll get to him in a minute. I'm just talking in general. Be like, hey, what a time we had in the dimes.
Okay.
I think it's great. You gotta get your 90s.
Simpsons. Great song "Call Me Maybe" came out in the third year of the dimes.
A hit of the dimes. Absolute stalwart of the dimes.
I fucks with this. This is it. How did we get on a tangent already? We're like a minute in.
It's the way that it works. This podcast, Crossbody of Work, we talk about a wrestler through 5 of their most important, or maybe just 5 of their matches, because this is definitely a random assortment for this wrestler. A wrestler who was around for a while, a very memorable presence, and then decided to do some things on the independents after leaving WWE. We're, of course, talking about Eugene Snitsky.
Otherwise known as Gene Snitsky.
His real name is Eugene Snitsky. There's no T.
Oh.
Yeah, so he really is Gene Snitsky, but he's just Eugene Snitsky.
Let me tell you something. I've never seen a man that looks more like a Eugene than this dude.
I mean, yeah, he looks more like Eugene than Eugene.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things where
Eugene
like
that I know in like is like Eugene Levy. The dad from American Pie and the dad from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, that dude! Shout out.
Yeah.
That's a Eugene right there. Now, here's the thing with Gene Snitsky is that he looks like a guy whose like name that everyone refers to him as is like Booger or like, you know, fucking T-Bone.
Yeah, they're like, that's old Dorf.
And then there's like this like popular girl who like knew him from way back and is like, his name's Eugene, guys.
Why are we all being mean to Eugene?
No, it's like he's like the bully, and everyone like he's bullying someone, and the girl has a crush on the guy he's bullying, and he's just like, Eugene, stop.
I like this backstory we've already made for a man who already has his own lore. What do you know about Gene Snitsky?
He, much like Kyle from South Park, his favorite game is Kick the Baby.
We, of course, are going to talk about that storyline, the storyline that launched Snitsky into the main roster of WWE, and that was really his entrance to the world of wrestling. That's the number one thing I think about with Gene Snitsky is kick the baby, it wasn't my fault. Those two things, in that order, that's about it. And then his weird, like, shaved his eyebrows phase. That we'll get to.
Fucking wild time.
It's quite the commitment to the bit. I once knew somebody who entered a drag show for the first time. Like, he was not a drag performer in any stretch, but it was like an amateur drag show, and he shaved his eyebrows so that way because they were really bushy, so that he could pencil them in, and he came in third. And I was like, that is too much commitment to only come third.
I mean, how many people were in it?
4.
Oh, that's...
It's essentially a participation trophy.
I just want to know what the 4th person did.
Not well. So let's talk about kicking the baby. Before we talk about that, of course, if you're not already watching this on YouTube, you should go and check us out on YouTube at Crossbody of Work. If you are on YouTube, hit subscribe. We got lots of good wrestling content. Hit that like button. Wonderful stuff. If you're listening through your favorite podcast app, rate 5 stars. Help the boys out. Share this with a friend. Reminisce on where you were when you first saw Gene Snitsky punt a baby. So, Snitsky, classic backstory for a lot of wrestlers. He was a football player. He played football, and I do not know if this is true or somebody put this in his Wikipedia because it'd be very funny to say, but apparently in high school he played punter. Now, I want it to be true so bad.
There's no shot he played punter.
There's no
Honestly,
shot.
It wouldn't shock
6'7".
me if he was their punter and like also played like D end and tight end.
Yeah.
You know?
he graduated high school in '88 and signed a full scholarship to the University of Missouri, where he played under offensive line coach and future Kansas City Chiefs and Eagles head coach Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, holy shit!
Another fantastic big fella. He did sign with the Chargers after did some training camps, but then had a shoulder injury that was misdiagnosed, and so he got rid of his NFL aspirations.
Damn.
Then he trained with Allentown, Pennsylvania-based World Extreme Wrestling, Dub X Dub, not that one. Which when I read, I was like, he was Dub X Dub. I was like, how we use in Germany doing the thing?
I mean, listen, would it really shock you if this man had ventured out to Germany
and like won a title? No, it actually wouldn't surprise me at all.
Exactly.
He had his first tryout match with WWE the day after winning the WXW Championship, October 20th, 2003. He wrestled against a fellow WXW wrestler, Smooth Tommy Suede, and then afterwards he was sent to OVW, where he wrestled as Mean Gene Mondo, a name inspired by Mean Gene Okerlund, and presented as the kayfabe brother of Mike Mondo, a.k.a. Mikey from the Spirit Squad. Yeah, that was the original Gene Snitsky gimmick.
Wow.
Now, Gene Snitsky would make his debut September 13th, 2004. Let's set the scene. He's in a match against Kane, a no DQ match, which is weird for a first debut, but that's fine. Very important spot.
Isn't this at Taboo Tuesday?
No. We'll get to Taboo Tuesday. But he debuted before that. And he had this no DQ match with Kane, who was currently with Lita, who was carrying Kane's child.
Sure.
That's what it was. That's how it happened. And Kane prepared to injure Snitsky. He was distracted by Lita. Snitsky used the distraction to hit Kane from behind with a chair. And then Kane fell on Lita and caused her to miscarry. And Snitsky kept claiming it wasn't his fault, which was his
not my fault.
Kane turned face after this and faced off against Snitsky. Snitsky apparently, this is what he said in interviews, was only supposed to be a jobber and was supposed to make a one-night appearance and then go back to OVW. Could you imagine the stories we'd read about? Hey, do you remember the guy who showed up, caused a miscarriage on Raw, and just disappeared?
And then expected me to believe that this guy could come back in any other capacity.
Yeah. And WWE would be like, forget about that. That was 18 months ago. He's now Mean Gene Mondo.
It's like, remember when Festus became Luke Gallows?
No, I don't. I refuse to acknowledge it. So Snitsky said he was supposed to go back to OVW, but the angle with Kane and Lita had gone over so well that WWE was like, we're going to promote him to the main roster. And he had to fly in on the WWE corporate jet to make it to the next Raw on time.
Wait, so he got to fly on the corporate jet?
Vince loved what he saw.
Oh.
This, of course, led to a feud with Kane, and that is where our first match takes place. Taboo Tuesday 2004. It's Snitsky versus Kane in a weapon of choice match. Bring back Taboo Tuesday, you cowards.
Come Tuesday. This is fantastic on just so many levels, because not only do we have Stockholm Syndrome Lita over here, somehow Kane's a babyface. When Kane has manipulated both emotionally and physically Lita. Also, we're not gonna mention it, but there are some very nefarious means surrounding that child that was quote unquote miscarried.
Yeah. Whenever WWE goes into this realm of real life things, I never trust them. And I think it's because of their track record. I just don't trust them to do anything that involves a little bit of tact very well. They never fucking do it.
They just go too far.
It's always just cartoony, and I don't like it.
Now, the Stockholm Syndrome, I will say, they did it really well one time. Or I would say the real life thing actually was when Roderick Strong had PTSD with Dexter Lumis. That was really well done, in my opinion.
Yeah, Roddy Strong is underrated. I'm gonna say that.
Hope he has a good run in AEW.
I hope he does too. I was thinking about this before we talk about the match. Lita has an elite roster of pairings that she's had in WWE.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
No, but an elite roster of people that she's been paired with on TV.
Yeah, I mean the Hardys, Edge,
Kane. That's 3 for 3. 3, like, those are Hall of Fame acts, all of them.
Are we counting Becky?
Sure. Hall of Fame act there, too. Done.
Because, I mean, yeah. And then, she's done her things here and there. She's, when she was on Tough Enough, I thought she was decent. When she was on commentary sometimes for that women's. Actually, no, that was bad. I remember that being bad when she was a part of the...
Her commentary is the thing that she doesn't do well, but she's still great. And, like, honestly, she was in her bag right now in 2004.
Well, she was as hot as it gets. Like, she's about to embark on a mega heel run with Edge next year. That's going to literally be the thing that carries her career as far
Edge
as we
is such
know.
An asshole. I love it.
Well,
all right.
I mean, they both were.
Yeah, no, it was a team effort. What did you think of this contest?
It's a chain match.
Kane with a chain.
It's bring your own weapon, but it's just chain.
Just chain. It reminds me a little bit of when they would be like, hey, somebody gets to have the stairs match at TLC. It's like, what? I don't want the stairs match.
Do your chain hang low? Do it wobble to the flow? Do it shine in the light? Is it platinum? Is it gold? Can you throw
it? It's a bop.
Make it
now,
make it gold.
Snitsky is pretty green here at this point.
I mean,
he has been working since roughly 2003. According to 2003 is when he was in the development territories, but like give or take, say he's been in WWE for 2 years, or like in wrestling for 2 years. What do you think of his work here?
I mean, he's a big man. They develop significantly slower than any other kind of wrestler. Yes. Just because the big man style is such a hard style to get down, and then on top of the fact that you have to then develop in other aspects of wrestling in order to like truly become like a very good big man performer. Like it's as far as putting on compelling matches while being that type of wrestler. And I mean, look, as far as big man wrestling goes, I thought he did fine. He nailed big boots. He nailed clotheslines. There were scoop slams. There's certain moves that you just need to be able to like perfect as a big man. I think, especially when you're still green. And he hit all the beats. The issue here is really just that he's literally going up against another big man, and it's tough when you have two guys who are big going out there, because Kane isn't exactly prime wrestling machine Undertaker out there. He's just like a fine wrestler who is really good at what he does, and that's about it.
Kane's in his like reliable era. Right now, like that's where he's at this point in time.
Yeah,
he's not the dynamic guy he was in like 2000 through 02. Like he's kind of fallen down a little bit, but
yeah, I mean he hits an uppercut early on that I was really happy about because I love seeing Kane's uppercut. Mm-hmm. I thought Snitsky had really good selling, and I thought that not only did he have good selling, he had good selling for what his character is, which is kind of like a mentally unstable, like
lunatic,
just like a lunatic. And he does a lot of like facial expressions and like little head movements and jolts that are just little jolts, I should say, that are just
you
like
buy everything that Snitsky does. Yeah, like everything feels very legit, even if the moves aren't amazingly crisp. Everything he does feels real, and that's good. Like when he's whipping Kane with the chain, I'm like, oh yeah, you love this. Rihanna also somewhere is loving this.
He's just like this match is going to be a nightmare to talk about because there's a lot.
We're not going to go through all the spots. It's very repetitive.
It's not only that; it's just there's a lot of chain, and one of these guys' names literally rhymes with the word chain, and that's just going to be an issue. So like Kane is just constantly getting rocked by this metal object, and Snitsky hits a scoop slam, follows that up with two standing elbow drops. Standing elbow drops would eventually get involved for Snitsky, but it would still be kind of like a staple of his offense. We'd come to find out. He gets a near fall off of that. Big clothesline. This guy has a really good clothesline. I mean, we know because of the Paul London elimination at that Royal Rumble. Yeah. What was it, 2006?
5.
Somewhere in that range. He eliminated the shit out of Paul London, so we know the guy could whip a clothesline at someone. Dare I say, some of these throughout this episode border on lariat territory.
They sure do. They're approaching the lariat.
They're very
on the
Larry.
lariat scale. Yeah.
He starts whipping again. It's just literally a good chunk of this match is just Snitsky whipping with chain and then hitting moves and then going back. More chain action.
There is a change, though, where instead of the chain, Snitsky gets a chair. And he hits the throat and neck of Kane repeatedly. Now, this is a weapon of choice match, and they distinctly say at the beginning, the only thing legal is the steel chain. Shouldn't this be a DQ?
You know what? I prefer not to speak, because if I speak, I am copyrighted.
Snitsky, he just repeated chair shots neck of Kane, chokes him with the chain and the chair. He puts Kane's head in the chair and jumps on it from the top rope. Kane is bleeding from the mouth. His neck is all fucked up.
It's nasty.
Snitsky goes, but then comes back to get the pin, which I thought was great.
Well, it's because he's green, but also it's very clear they had to wrap this up because Kane is shoot hurt because it's coming out of his nose, it's coming out of his mouth. This guy's fucked up.
Yeah, it's not going well for Kane. Kane then gets put on the gurney and wheeled back. Snitsky wins. Did you watch all the way to the end?
No.
Oh, so Kane gets put on a gurney, wheeled to the back, and then Snitsky blows him up like he's a fucking pulling guard. Snitsky had gone to the back, and he comes back out and just blows up Kane on the gurney and then just stands there and screams. It's a great time. WWE used this angle to write Kane off of TV. Do you remember why?
He went to go film the movie.
He went to go film See No Evil.
Let's go. What is it, May 19th? Yeah.
May 19th.
Oh, we missed May 19th. It was 5 days ago as of the recording of this podcast.
Yes, we just missed May 19th.
Fuck's sake.
Let's talk about our next match, which is a very high-profile role for Snitsky this early into his run. It's November of the same year, 2004, and Snitsky finds himself on a Survivor Series team on Raw. He is on a team with Evolution members Triple H and Batista, as well as former soon-to-be Lita Lover Edge. Not former. Well, maybe. Who knows what the timelines look like.
Well,
now,
I would say current, if the timelines are to be believed.
Versus the babyface team of Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Dickhead, and if you do not know who we refer to that we mean Chris Benoit. We will be referring to him as Dickhead from here on out.
Yes.
And Maven, Tough Enough winner Maven, making, I believe, his first appearance on the podcast.
Yeah. Actually,
very hard to find people making their first appearance in episode 166, but here we are.
Well, we just have no reason to cover Maven to this point,
because we're not tough enough.
Well, the Maven episode's gonna be a trip because I guess we have to talk about Tough Enough as the first thing.
We should do a Tough Enough rewatch on the YouTube.
Oh yeah, we should. Look at us creating content on the fly.
So the winner of this gets to run Raw for a month. Each one gets to run it for 1 week. This is a very common thing I find for WWE is if they have an up-and-coming heel, you get to get put in the Survivor Series match, and you get a very similar finish to what Snitsky gets here.
Yeah.
That's just the rule. That's the rules. Of all the people in this match, I know who you hate. You hate Triple H and you hate Edge, obviously.
It's not even close.
On the babyface side, who would you be cheering for the hardest here?
At me now or me then?
Both.
Me now, probably Orton. Me then? Ooh, it's not Benoit. I was never that big of a Benoit guy.
I'd say I'm a Jericho guy here. I also weirdly did like Maven a lot.
I think it's probably still Orton, even though I didn't like him. Just because by default, I was completely indifferent on Dickhead. Jericho, I really liked Jericho, but I fucking hated Jericho after he got his hair cut.
Fair.
I don't know why. I could explain to you why, but when he cut his hair, it was just he was dead to me. So I guess it's Orton both ways by default.
Maven was attacked earlier in the night by Snitsky. Good job, Gene. Doing good things for Evolution. Well done. You get a couple extra $100. Also, I cannot unsee the fact that this specific age and era of Ric Flair looks like Dustin Hoffman. He just looks like Dustin Hoffman with dyed hair. That's what And I was like, that's Dustin Hoffman. He's playing Ric Flair in this movie.
No.
I couldn't get over it.
No, Evan, no.
To go through all the spots in a Survivor Series match sounds like too much.
Okay, so you went full Gru. Also, we need to talk about it. Evolution song slaps.
Yes, obviously.
Evolution is a victory.
It makes me want to put on a suit. I feel like Mark Jindrak every time I hear that song.
Makes me want to put on a suit and then rip it off and put another one on.
I feel like I should have a suit and immediately just sling the jacket over my shoulder.
Well, I close the door to my convertible.
Yeah. I drink a whiskey. Neat. I don't know what it means to be neat. I just think the whiskey is neat. What a neat whiskey we have here.
Can you imagine Gene Snitsky trying on a suit?
Can you imagine Gene Snitsky whiskey? That sounds awesome.
Actually, yes, I can actually imagine. I feel like, look up Gene Snitsky. That's probably one of his ventures. Is he like low key? You know what he could be? He seems like someone who is a partner with like fucking Ryan Reynolds on Aviator Gin, or like with Conor McGregor with proper whiskey or whatever the fuck, proper number 1 or whatever.
Well, he is a pitchman for something, and it's TriStar Products Power Pressure Cooker XL. And he's done a couple of YouTube videos where he talks about how to prepare various foods in it, including Low Country Boil and buffalo wings.
That
tracks.
Send me a link to that. I also want to boil and make buffalo wings.
So let's talk about our first elimination. Let's go through kind of the eliminations as they happen, and we'll talk about how Snitsky did in his role here. So the first elimination is Dickhead. He has a crossface in on Edge. Batista breaks it up. We get a pedigreed Dickhead. Edge gets the pin. It's 4-3, but technically 4-2 because Maven is still not out there.
Yes. Snitsky and Edge, a little after this, Edge gets tries to tag out, and both Triple H and Snitsky claim that they were tagged. So they get into a little shoving match, which leads Batista to get into the ring and go face-to-face with Snitsky. Wow, Jericho then just slaps on the walls of Jericho to Triple H.
Yeah.
Batista recognizes this, takes out Jericho. And then Jericho does end up getting an advantage. He's going for a lion salt. Ric Flair trips him up on the rope and then gets kicked out. Takes fucking ages to get kicked out.
While he's getting kicked out, Jericho gets caught with a huge spine buster from Batista. Also, 04, like, still Enforcer era Batista is so good.
Bro, when he decapitates Orton, just fucking ruins him with a clothesline.
Orton hits Batista with the big gold belt. We get an insecurity from Jericho. Kyoto gets back in the ring in time. They pin Batista. It's 3-2. Jericho does this beautiful little spot I want to talk about where he does a springboard dropkick to Edge on the apron, who falls perfectly onto Gene Snitsky. Yeah. It's good stuff like that you can get in these Survivor Series matches.
Snitsky's in the ring. He starts stomping out Jericho. Then he starts choking Jericho. A thing he loves to do is choke people.
Loves it. Big fan.
He starts taking out Orton before getting spiked by a DDT. And then Maven comes down.
A bleeding Maven. He couldn't even get somebody to bandage him up properly. He's just still bleeding. Even though he was attacked hours earlier, he's still bleeding. You know when they get those cuts, they just keep bleeding? That's Maven. Hot tag to Maven. He's in on Snitsky. He's on fire. Right hands to everybody. Bulldog off the middle rope by Maven. What happens to Maven immediately after that?
Maven gets fucking cracked with a chair.
Oh, man.
Snitsky said, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck this dude. Fuck this match. Triple H, I know you said I'd get a title shot if we got the job done. I don't give a fuck about that. So he just whips Maven with the chair, takes out Jericho and Orton with the chair as well. He's obviously DQ'd. Gene Snitsky's out of here.
He was also busted open legitimately from one of Maven's shots. He has a huge gash over his eye.
Yeah, and he's bleeding more than fucking Maven is. Triple H.
I will fall. Hold on. I will fall for this spot every time. Like somebody's a house on fire and then they just get cut down by somebody much bigger than them. Yeah. Like I feel like it happens to Ricochet once a month. And like, I will
Ricochet
fall for
literally the other night.
Yeah, it did happen the other night.
Who is he facing? It wasn't Gunther.
It was Bronson Reed.
Yeah, Bronson Reed. He got fucked up by Bronson Reed.
This is just that, but it's in the mid-aughts, so you can tattoo somebody with a chair shot to the head.
You go aughts one more time, Evan. I swear to God.
Aughts. Aughts and the dimes, baby. Aughts and the dimes. Snitsky has been DQ'd. Up until now, he's been pretty good. Like, he had that weird confrontation with Batista. That was actually kind of nice.
I kind of want to see that match.
He did good things. He furthered a feud with Maven if they want to continue down that way.
Sure.
Like, I thought he did his role pretty well here.
Yeah, Triple H pissed Maven, so Maven's also gone. So now it's 2-on-2. Or sorry, no,
Orton and Jericho, Edge and Triple H.
No. Batista hasn't been eliminated yet.
No, Batista got eliminated by Jericho earlier.
Oh yeah.
After the Insecurity. So then Edge accidentally spears Jericho, or Edge spears Jericho. He pins him. We're down to just Orton versus Jericho and Edge. It's so hard to cheer for Orton babyface. It's so hard.
Like, yes, but at this point, I was also rooting for him. I don't know. There's just something about Survivor Series Randy Orton. You know?
Yeah. He's Clay Game 6. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Royal Rumble, I guess, to me, Royal Rumble is the John Cena pay-per-view. Like, John Cena kills it at Royal Rumble. And then WrestleMania, there's a million people you could choose. Taker, Shawn, Brett even. SummerSlam is Brett, I think. SummerSlam is his pay-per-view. And then Survivor Series is Orton. I think it's like, it's not even like, who would even be the other person for Survivor Series?
Even close.
Yeah, it's Orton.
Orton does win here with a couple of RKOs, especially after Edge accidentally spears Triple H. RKO is him. Triple H hits a low blow when Mikiota's back is turned. Orton reverses a pedigree into an RKO. It's a really good finish. It's a fun match to watch if you haven't gone seen in a while. And enjoy the work that Gene Snitsky does. He's definitely doesn't look out of place there, which is a big thing for only being in there for like.
But he's absolutely out of place. We just need to emphasize that point. He is absolutely 100% out of place. He does not belong with these people. But,
no, he doesn't look like he belongs in society at this point.
But he holds his own.
He holds his own. And he killed Maven. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we are looking at Gene Snitsky going up against one of Javier's favorites. Back from the break, we are at Raw, July 18th, 2005. John Cena is feuding with Chris Jericho. And in this feud, Jericho has decided to have a lumberjack match, and he's going to put Cena up against a crazy son of a bitch, and that person is our boy Gene Snitsky.
Oh, yeah.
It's July 18th, 2005. At this point, Snitsky was kind of operating as a goon for hire for a couple of people, one of them being Bischoff, the other being Edge and Lita, where he had a weird thing where he was told that he could get a go at Lita's feet. They started kind of incorporating the foot. Do you remember this?
Now that you mention it, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Edge said that he could, this is the week before, said that he knew about his foot fetish and offered Snitsky to have a go with Lita's feet if he'd help him in a match against Kane.
I remember that.
And they talked about how Lita thanked Snitsky for saying she's better off having not given birth to Kane's offspring.
Yeah, dude, Lita was fucking cutthroat after that whole thing with Kane. Anyways, my GOAT is in this match. Shout out to John Cena.
Shout out to Rob Conway at ringside.
Rene Dupree's here too.
And Kerwin White. If you look at ringside, Kerwin White is there.
Kerwin White is here. He gets involved in this match. But anyways, this exact version of John Cena post WrestleMania 21, untouchable. It's just like he could literally shoot my mother and I'd say thank you. Like, I don't even know what to say. This is as hero as a hero gets. Evan, who is your hero? And I swear to God, if you say some sappy shit like, "Oh, it's my mom," I'm gonna smack you. Who's?
I mean, I don't know. Not to that level. At
least. Is it like fucking? You're funny. Is it like Carrot Top? Do you love Carrot Top?
I have never been more offended in my life that you would be like, "Hey,
I don't know.
Funny
Carrot
person."
Top was the first
I assume Carrot Top is your hero.
Is it like fucking Dave Chappelle before the transphobia?
It's not Dave Chappelle. If I had a comedy hero, it would be George Carlin.
George Carlin is like your hero. Like, let's say, I don't know why you're now George Carlin stan. We're just gonna do that's just what it is. Yeah. Or like Taylor Swift. I know you're a big Swiftie.
Swiftie.
Taylor Swift at the absolute peak of your fandom for that woman. That is where John Cena is with me at this point. It is not like I'm telling. Like, he could, for those watching on the YouTube. Yes, this is a cat. I got a cat now. She's just right here where the finger is, right there. John Cena at this point, July 2005, could walk through that door, smack my cat, and I would shake his hand.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
So anything anything Snitsky does in this match, fuck that guy.
So Cena tossed to the outside. He clocks Rob Conway, which is great. Jericho gives Snitsky a pep talk at ringside when he's tossed up by Cena. Cena does the flying shoulder block, does a back body drop, and then he gets sent to ringside. Gets beat on by Carlito and Tomko.
And Kerwin White. Kerwin White's the first one that's there.
Then it's him around the waist.
Then it's Rene Dupree getting some shots in from behind Kerwin White. And then Carlito and Tyson Tomko.
At this point, Maven is healed because I see Maven at ringside. I'm like, oh, Maven, what happened to you, man?
I mean...
You were Maven.
Are we shocked? Also, I mean, let me tell you something. I want to see that heel turn. Who did he turn heel on? What has he been doing? Because Survivor Series was, 8 months ago at this point? Yeah. What's he been doing? Oh, my God, my light just fell. Jesus Christ, people. Y'all just saw that in real time.
I'll talk about the match. So we get a big spinebuster in the ring by Snitsky and a neck breaker. Honestly, some good stuff. Cena does a snap suplex. He runs the ropes. Jericho pulls him out of the ring, tosses him into the steps. I also believe that this era of Jericho is pretty fantastic. I'm a big fan of what Jericho was doing at this time.
Remember when he left and then went on that he was the host of a game show or a singing competition or some shit?
Jericho has constantly wanted to be bigger than wrestling. That's been his thing.
I just don't remember what that was, but I remember that, and I wanted to watch that show, but I never got to it. So that show got canceled probably, and it's my fault for not watching it.
It wasn't my fault. Snitsky with how would you describe the hold he has John in here? Because it's not quite asleep.
No, it's $1 million dream.
Yeah, it's $1 million dream.
A camel clutch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they called it something else on commentary. I'm like, that's not what that is.
But it's JR on commentary. JR has been right about things 3 times in his career.
Yeah, they were all pre-1999.
And they all involve Steve Austin.
Cena with an elbow and some headbutt. Cena clocks Jericho and gets in the apron. We get a big clothesline by Snitsky.
Yes.
Big one. It was
massive.
Nice. Chin lock by Snitsky while Jericho throws a hissy fit at ringside. Ooh, he's mad.
He is mad.
Snitsky is in the corner. The ref gets distracted by Jericho. We get an FU attempt, but Kurt Angle, my goat, comes in and chop blocks Cena.
Fucking rat.
Cena still kicks out because it's the year of our Lord 2005, and that's what he does.
Angle, fuck him. That man is a drug addict.
Be nice to my boy, Kurt Angle. All the heels swarm Cena at ringside. We get a big boot in the ring. Cena still kicks out. And here come the baby faces to even the odds. Led by my boy, Shelton Benjamin.
Is this peak Benjamin for you? 2005?
Absolutely. This is roughly because this is right after WrestleMania 21?
Yeah.
So there was an article that came out right around this time where somebody on one of those like nodq.com or something, one of those forums and blogs, wrote who they think would be the main event of WrestleMania 25 or the card for WrestleMania 25. And it was Shelton Benjamin challenging for the world title. And I was like, he should. That's my dude.
What is that, 4 years from now? From that
4
point?
Years later, yeah.
Was Shelton even with the company at that point?
Yes. No? Maybe.
Was he the gold standard still, or was he done? He might have been done, Evan. He might have been in Japan.
He might have been in Japan. I don't remember. But we get him. We get Big Show. Shelton fucking clears out a lot of people on his own. Shelton
botched his jump. He slipped on the stairs onto someone.
Hurricane and Rosie are here. Tajiri's here. Our boy Mabel shows up. Jericho hides behind Lillian Garcia.
Mabel fucks 2 people.
There's no other way to put it. He lies down on top of 2 people and just thrusts.
And if I were to guess, I think it was Rob Conway and Rene Dupree. Honestly, because I believe they're a team at this point. Oh my God, the cat got up.
They should be, yeah. And Jericho gets a chair. Cena gets him and avoids the chair shot. Snitsky picks it up. Cena cuts him off. FU wins the match. Honestly, good stuff for Snitsky. I thought he did a pretty good job in this role.
Yeah.
What do you think of the braided goatee?
I mean, it adds to the look.
It does. Speaking of the look, we're now going to fast forward to 2007. Snitsky's character has undergone a drastic overhaul and is now portrayed as like a psychotic madman who loves pain.
Yeah.
And to this effect, they got rid of all of the hair on Snitsky's face, including his eyebrows, and except for the exception of a little soul patch, which is honestly the worst thing you could have. If you have just a soul patch, I don't trust you. Especially if you don't have eyebrows. I think that's a given, but
I just don't see a situation where a human being should only have a soul patch.
Correct.
Like what is the thought process there?
It's a great question. They also colored his teeth, and now I need to ask you, how much money would it take for you to get your teeth colored like that? How much would you need to be making?
I didn't even notice that part. What did they color it? Was it like yellow?
Oh, it's like dark yellow. Like his teeth are gross.
Okay. Is this like a permanent thing, or do I just have to rock this for like a year?
You have to rock it for the entire time you're in character. How much do they need to pay you a year to do that?
I mean, I don't know, man. Probably. I mean, like, is my character over? Like, am I gonna get? Is it gonna be like
the same level of over as Snitsky? You can decide what that
means. Oh, brother, that I'm gonna need like. I'm not moving any merch. I need like $5 million.
You're not buying a Snitsky shirt?
I need like $5 million. Because at that point, you got to think that's like Lars Sullivan levels of over. That's like, what is it even now? I'm like carrying Cross, you know?
Oh man, I feel so bad for Cross. We just lumped him in with Snitsky and Lars Sullivan.
I mean, I don't know, man. One was like, one's a weird dude. One's like touching himself on a forum, and the other one's carrying Cross.
Sorry, Karrion Kross. All right, let's talk about these promos from Snitsky because they're weird and he's wet, and I do not like it.
Why is he so moist?
He's so damp. It's like a basement in July.
So it says,
don't get it.
It says pain can be very agonizing for most people, but for him, it's very satisfying. They say that it's wrong for him to feel that way, but he can't help it. To him, pain is his pleasure. So
you're telling me this isn't a commercial for 50 Shades of Grey?
Nah, bro. It's like a weird Chick-fil-A commercial. It's his pleasure.
Oh, my God. Javier didn't think there was enough, so he gave me a second one of these to watch, where he says, "My name is Snitsky. Does it make me a bad person that when I hurt someone, I feel no remorse?" Yes.
He says he broke someone's arm when he was just 7 years old, and it didn't bother him. He didn't feel any regret. He didn't feel any remorse.
Pain is my pleasure.
Says he can't explain why, but their pain is his pleasure.
I cannot believe you made me watch these instead of seeing him punt a baby. I cannot believe you deprived me of that. Instead, you made me watch these psychotic
baby
audition tapes for Silence of the Lambs.
Kick the baby.
Have you've seen the clip of him kicking the baby?
Bro, I saw it. Like, I literally watched him kick the baby. I was like 7 years old when that happened.
You were the baby. Now, I went and watched it again because I was like, I can't believe I watched these things and didn't see him kick a baby. And then I watched him kick the baby. I was like, that's so fucked up. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing they had. Okay. What a hard gimmick to get over.
What's worse, the fact that you went out of your way to go look at it, or the fact that you wanted to?
I need to see the like magnum opus of Snitsky. Also, I'm glad you mentioned the thing of like shilling merch. How hard is it to walk around with a Snitsky like it wasn't my fault shirt?
Wait, that was I'm sorry, timeout. No.
I don't think it was a real thing, but I'm going to look it up now.
There's no shot that they made a merch off of that. Like,
I'm gonna look it
like
up.
What would it? Is it just like a picture of him kicking a child? Like, speaking of hitting kids, do you remember that show, The Slap?
Yes, I do.
Shout out to The Slap. What a weird show that was. Just a guy slapping a kid.
And I am not believing what I'm seeing.
Oh, Evan, please no. Evan, God.
There's a shirt that says, "Let me kick it like I'm Snitsky," and it's a silhouette of him. I don't think it's his. Like,
no. First off, you need to put that on the YouTube.
Big Gene Snitsky's paternity tests. We're always negative, so it's never your fault. Yeah. Somewhere on the YouTube screen right now, I have put the shirt so you can see it. Yeah. We're going to take our commercial break. When we return from the break, no more Gene Snitsky merch. Back from the break, mercifully, no more Gene Snitsky merch. In the time, Snitsky has gone to ECW. He'd be back on Raw in mid-2008. But we've got a match on Raw for him from February of 2008, and that is a Money in the Bank qualifier versus Jeff Hardy. This is the first time we see his new gimmick in action. It is incredibly unsettling.
Jeff Harvey.
Right, this is also the Mike Adamle era, right? Like 2008?
Somewhere around there. Yeah, actually, because it's Royal Rumble 2008, isn't it? He calls
Jeff Harvey time.
Yeah, so we're like a month removed from Jeff Harvey. Now this right here, this man Jeff Hardy, this is as over as it fucking gets, right?
His body is destroyed. The night before was the Elimination Chamber and No Way Out, and Jeff was in that, and he took a bunch of bumps because Jeff Hardy was in a match, and that's what he does. He is so over. His music is over. Everything's
like
over.
Rover. He's the Intercontinental Champion, which in my opinion is when he was his most over.
And then Gene Snitsky, a 6'7" stack of mashed potatoes.
Bro, he looks like a thumb. He looks like a literal thumb. He looks like the thumb people from the first Spy Kids movie.
Yes.
Is what he looks like.
Honestly, kudos to Gene Snitsky because this is a tough spot to be in. And honestly, I cannot talk more about how well he does in these very weird roles. It's such a good thing to have on a wrestling roster. It's such a guy who's just like, he freaks you out. He's super weird. That's his thing. Snitsky does an incredible job of it. His mannerisms have been good since the day he debuted.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying these things to shit on him at all. I'm saying I am impressed by the work.
He is just a guy who didn't take himself too seriously. And it showed, but
also took the work pretty seriously.
Yeah, no, he was very serious when in character, about being in character. Yeah. But he, it's obvious, this guy's not that weird. I feel like Snitsky's probably the coolest dude, you know?
Yeah, probably a very chill guy. I assume.
I don't know anything about this dude, other than he kicked the child. Anyways, it's just that it takes a very specific kind of person to be this type of character.
Yes.
And he does it so well. Because he never took it to a comedic place.
No.
It was always serious.
It was always pretty serious about it. And there's definitely weird things of comedy. Do you remember when he had that encounter with Heidenreich at Survivor Series, actually? That one we covered? So, Snitsky says, I like your poetry. And Heidenreich says, I like what you do to babies. And it's serious, but it's also not. It's good stuff. This match is a pretty good Jeff Hardy vehicle, and Snitsky is, again, so good at his role.
Jeff Hardy's band is in the front row. I forget their name again. Miss Evan Dever or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember.
It's Evan Dever, I think. I think it's Evan Dever.
I tried to listen to their music because I like Jeff Hardy a lot and I want to be supportive.
Well, I know one of their songs.
Yeah, that's I know one.
Don't just see the writing on the wall.
Snitsky with some good stuff. He gets dumped to the floor he dumps Hardy to the floor after he crosses him on the ropes. He's got a bear hug because, of course, big guys do bear hugs. That's actually the next shirt we're gonna have is big guys do bear hugs.
Big guys, great shirt. Big men do bear things.
Big man bear hug.
Big man
Snitsky does his series of running elbow drops that we talked about that he really likes.
Yeah, he does them super fast, which is it adds to the intensity of it, and I like that. I do like that. It's not something you see very often, especially from a guy of his size.
Mm-hmm. We get a scoop slam by Snitsky. He misses the leg drop. That's when Hardy starts to get some advantage. He does a crossbody. He does a whisper in the wind that connects enough for a 2. I think he hits him with a shoelace at most. And then Snitsky avoids the twist of fate, hits a big boot. Again, good big man move he has in his arsenal. Yeah. I feel like there's the starter pack you get as a big man. And Snitsky's got all of them in spades. He can do the sidewalk slam. He can do the clothesline. He can do the big boot. He can do a bear hug. He's got all the original starters.
Yeah, I mean, look, and he goes for something that not all big men could do, which is a pump handle slam.
Yep.
One big man in particular did it. Shots test. We did a test episode. Go listen to that.
We did do a test episode.
And Jeff slips out of that, hits his twist of fate, goes up to the top, swanton bomb. 1, 2, 3. Jeff Hardy wins the match because, no shit, Jeff Hardy was going to be in the Money in the Bank match.
Obviously. Snitsky's last appearance on WWE television was in November 28th of 2008 on Raw, losing an Intercontinental Championship tournament match to CM Punk.
Ooh.
That was his last appearance was against CM Punk, which I found very interesting. Do we think CM Punk will be back in AEW?
Bro, I don't even know. Like, at this point, I don't know what Tony Khan is fucking doing there with that. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, he's basically like being annoying because so he wanted Ace Steel back. He got Ace Steel back.
He did.
But Ace Steel wasn't allowed in the buildings. He was only allowed to work with Punk directly remotely.
Yeah.
And
which is weird. What does that mean? You're like his coach? Like that's it?
I mean, he's probably just producing his matches, which is fine. Yeah. Like he doesn't have to be there in person to do that. And that's okay. Like there has to be concession. Like this guy fucking knocked out Nick Jackson with a chair and bit Kenny Omega. Like he got fired. He's the only person that got fired from that whole mess, and he should have been. And like I understand, Punk always goes to bat for his friends. Like he goes to the extreme for his guys. I don't know. It's just like the fact that I think it's very glaring that they removed him from all the promotional stuff. They're going to announce tonight, as of the recording. We're recording this on Wednesday, right before Dynamite. They're going to announce where the first Collision show is tonight. If it's in Chicago, Punk is back. If it's not,
what if it's in Dubuque, Iowa?
If it's not in Chicago, I think that is 100% like the confirmation. Like Punk's not going to be there.
What's the most random city in America you could think of for a debut episode of Collision?
I don't know, like Somerset, Massachusetts.
I assumed you'd go to Connecticut because I know how much you hate Connecticut.
Fucking what is it? Uncasville, Connecticut.
Uncasville. Hell yeah, I'm down for Uncasville. You may have noticed we just talked about how Snitsky left WWE in 2008, but we only covered 4 matches. Well, that's because Javier unearthed a hell of a find on the YouTube. A hell of a find. Speaking of YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you have seen a cat enter the frame.
My cat is now behind my TV.
Cats love to go behind TVs. It's the most annoying thing in the world. Now, this match that we have from NWA Big Apple Heatwave in 2017 is Gene Snitsky and Mike Knox versus Andrew Anderson and Rodney Mack. So 3 former guys we remember from WWE and a guy named Andrew Anderson.
Who is not, they call him the Reinforcer. They do a lot of jazz, a lot of build up with that. I looked it up. He is not in any way, shape, or form related to Arn Anderson or the Anderson family. There's no affiliation there whatsoever.
Mike Knox is a Briscoe cousin. That's what he looks like.
Oh my god, he looks like the cousin that is special. So we don't talk about him.
He looks like he should be another Briscoe. Like his last name should be not Knox. It should be Briscoe. It's crazy. I do not know Andrew Anderson.
No, you shouldn't. I looked him up. This is what he's most known for, is the NWA Big Apple stuff.
He's a big boy with blonde, long hair and a big black beard. And honestly, I dig it. I like it.
God. You know what I thought he looked like? He looked like Otis, but like from the 80s.
He looks like Otis and Dog the Bounty Hunter just like fused together.
No, not Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's like at least give him Michael P.S. Hayes.
I am the dog.
At least give him my guy Michael P.S. Hayes.
Rodney Mack and Snitsky are both in incredible shape in this match.
Snitsky specifically looks like a fucking $1 million.
You know when Braun Strowman cut and like got really jacked?
Well, he just looks like Braun because he also has a big ass beard.
Massive beard. No more single braid goatee. He has eyebrows again. That's a big thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're all grateful. What'd you think of this contest?
Bro, just the basketball hoops in the background. They're definitely at like the local YMCA.
Yeah.
just chilling. Like it, or at least worst case scenario, they're at like the very very small, because this is in New York. It's Big Apple, so it's like I don't know. They're in like the fucking random town in New York's community college that will maybe, if you go here and do well enough, you can get into U of Albany or some shit. And it's like they're at that gym, and there's just like 50 people here.
Yeah. There's a lot, it's a lot of the test of strength early. Anderson wants to test strength, but Knox puts his hand too high. We get a stalemate. Snitsky comes in. He's making the pec stance. He baits him with a test of strength and then kicks him in the gut. We get stomps in the corner. He misses with a running splash. Anderson comes back in. He does a test of strength against Knox, but he keeps switching the hand. So he puts one hand up and then drops it down. Puts another hand up, drops it down.
Bro, that's the indiest spot I have ever seen.
It's a hell of a spot.
Jesus. At one point, Snitsky starts flexing his pecs like he's Terry Crews. It was
not what I expected to see. Not what I expected to see this day.
Yeah. A little after that, they start working the arm over of Mike Knox. Anderson and Rodney Mack do. Scoop slam by Anderson, but eventually I don't even know who the heel. I assume Snitsky and Mike Knox are the heels.
Snitsky the heels.
They hit double running shoulder block to, I believe it's Rodney Mack.
Yeah.
Snitsky does his 3 running standing elbow drops for a near fall. Then they just start healing it the fuck up. Yeah. Healing it up like a motherfucker. Distracting refs, talking shit, doing all this stuff. They are wearing down.
Wash from the apron.
Yeah. Mike Knox doing stomps and then choking Rodney Mack. Snitsky distracting the ref so that Mike Knox can keep choking Rodney Mack.
Big clothesline by Rodney, and he gets a tag to Anderson. Notice how it did not say a hot tag.
Because it was not.
It was just a tag. Snitsky with a knee to the back of Anderson as he's running the ropes to kind of get the advantage back for the heels. Get a big clothesline by Knox. Snitsky just slaps the gut of Anderson.
Yeah.
Very funny. I like it.
Yeah. Snitsky kicks him in the back. Knox clotheslines him. Snitsky starts talking to the ref while Knox chokes out Anderson. Snitsky gets back in the ring. He hits a scoop slam. And then we get a double clothesline spot.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like that.
Mac gets the hot tag, and this is actually a hot tag, and hits a spiking DDT to Knox.
Yes, he fucking does.
Top of his head. That's when we get the finish, and the finish is very heelish.
Oh, yeah. So Mike Knox is outside. Snitsky's in the ring. I believe he's in there with Anderson, right?
Yes.
Anderson's the babyface in the ring, and Mike Knox pulls the leg of Anderson, I believe. The ref goes to yell at him. Snitsky pulls out some brass knuckles, puts him on, clocks the shit out of Anderson, quickly puts him away like he's really William Regal. Ref turns around, 1, 2, 3. Snitsky and Mike Knox win this match. Snitsky has a Cabbage Patch Kid that he's just holding up.
That he brought out during his entrance. He's got the baby with him. Punt, 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 punt.
It's a Cabbage Patch Kid. I'm very concerned.
Yeah. Snitsky is still active. He is still wrestling.
He was in Impact for a little bit. Short stint, but a few appearances.
He teamed with Ezekiel Jackson.
I tried to find it, couldn't.
He also, as of time of recording, has announced that he is going to be in Major League Wrestling in July. At Never Say Never, he will be at MLW.
He's done stints in MLW. I think he's done Battle Royals.
So he'll be back in MLW. So we're not done covering the career of Gene Snitsky. What did you think looking at his career thus far?
Honestly, I thought this was going to be like a mess. Like I thought I was about to go in here and be like, yeah, this dude sucks. Like this is, why did I pick this? But like I have to say, I was honestly kind of pleasantly surprised. He's not the drizzling shits.
I think what it was is he's so well known for some very specific things that have happened that we kind of overlook the fact that he did have he was a pretty solid wrestler. Like he was never outstanding in any one aspect, but in terms of like commitment to the bit, which I think is something that's almost not lost on current wrestlers, but it's something that's less important than moves. Gene Snitsky committed to every bit. If you told him this is what's happening, he was down to clown. Like, he was on it. So kudos to Snitsky for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, he absolutely did everything he had to do. I just think my expectations were so low that it was like, if he'd just been an average wrestler like he was, he was going to surpass them. And that's what happened. And, I think that Gene Snitsky is someone who probably got the run that they deserved, considering the talent level and all that. But, he's a guy who I think maybe could have reached a different level if he manifested sort of his commitment to a character in a different way. You know what I mean? He was always going to be hamstrung in that Gene Snitsky character doing the weird things that he was doing. But do I think Snitsky could have gone and done I don't know, maybe the Dexter Loomis gimmick or some shit like that? Yeah, probably. Yeah. I just think he has a really good commitment to his characters. And if he could have channeled that in sort of a character that was more in line to becoming I don't know, maybe even just a mid-card guy, a mid-card title contender. I don't even want to say he wins the title, but just a contender. I think
he had a couple of matches for the IC title.
Become a little higher up in the card.
Yeah. If you're also wondering what Snitsky is doing now, according to Wikipedia, he is running an army surplus store in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, where he also spends time riding bike trails. That sounds like exactly the kind of life you want to live after you retire from wrestling. And honestly, good for Snitsky.
That tracks. That sounds like exactly where I'd pen him.
Wherever you are listening, you should rate 5 stars and help the boys out tremendously. If you are on YouTube already, you should hit subscribe. You should hit like. If you're not going to check out our YouTube content, go and do that. We have lots of different series. We have Wrestler Revisited. We have mini episodes. We have the draft content where Javier and I go back and forth trying to draft a bunch of things. There's a ton of exclusive content all on YouTube. Go back and binge it. And if you like what you're hearing right now, you should also follow us on social media at Crossbody of Work on the Twitter and the Instagram. Javier, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. It's in the bio of the main account. You're going to see it there. You can see it highlighted with an @ sign in front of it. Just click on that. Then you're on my profile. Then click follow. And then you're following me. And I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you. I would also appreciate you. Follow me at @TevinGomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Go to fullpressshop.com, cop the merch, support the boys. Go to fullpresswrestling.com for all the links to this week's matches. The recommendation is definitely the Survivor Series match.
Yeah, not even close.
He does a good job in it, and honestly, it's a pretty good match. It's a fun watch, and you'll end up cheering for babyface Orton, which is a hard thing to do, truly.
It truly is, yeah.
Next week on the podcast, we are covering, I don't even know how to announce it. I'm just going to say his name. It's Ahmed Johnson on the podcast next week.
This was somebody I love choice.
Picking, I'm just going to put somebody I love picking on WWF Warzone. I loved Ahmed Johnson. He was a beast in that game.
I don't even know what the fuck WWF Warzone is.
It was for the PlayStation. Notice how I didn't say a number? It's because it was for the PlayStation before number.
Oh, I had a PlayStation 1. Okay.
Yeah, and who did you get it from? Whose was it really?
It was my brother's, but I had it.
Yeah, there it is. Whose was it really, youngin'? All right, next week we're covering Ahmed Johnson. Of course, we have all that exclusive content on the YouTube. Go and check it out there and hit subscribe. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, as previously promised, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour breakdown. The boy went, if you're watching this on YouTube, which you should be, you can see I got the merch on. I bought this.
I didn't even know that's what it was.
It's a tie-dye tank top on the back. It's got the Eras Tour thing.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
I got this, and I got a quarter zip that's honestly fire, and that's why I got it. It's I don't even care. I wore it today to work. I like the Taylor design on it. It's got that same Eras Tour thing in the background, and it says a little bit of stuff on the sleeves. It's a nice ass shirt or a quarter zip. Truly, it fits perfect. It's very comfortable, and I'm very happy that I bought it.
There you go.
More than anything, though, fantastic show. Taylor Swift is a goddamn performer.
She can do it.
We came out here. We came out there. I want to give a shout out to Gracie Abrams. It's very nice of Phoebe Bridgers and Taylor Swift to show up to the Gracie Abrams concert. I'm a big fan of hers, so I was very excited to see her, and I popped the fuck off when she was on stage. Phoebe Bridgers did a great job. I'm not the biggest Phoebe Bridgers fan. I just don't really listen to her.
So you're not going through it emotionally like the rest of us?
I had no idea what the fuck she was singing. I know like 2 of her songs, and she performed 1 of them.
There you go.
And then Taylor came out, and my God, the production value of all of this, like the set changes, the fucking routines, the dancers were fantastic, the backgrounds was fantastic.
What were the surprise songs for your set?
I was blessed. I truly, because so the first one, the way she does it is she does 1 song on an acoustic guitar and 1 song on a piano. The acoustic guitar came first, and she performed for the first time ever live, or in person, I should say. I Think He Knows from Lover.
Oh, good song.
Yes, and it was great. Great. I was very happy because if it was like another album, I would have been kind of fucked. Because like if it's like a Reputation song that's like buried in there, hit or miss. If it's like one of the first few, like I would have been like, fuck. It's not what I wanted personally. I really did kind of want some Speak Now stuff, but
yeah,
I understand.
So you got I Think He Knows. What'd you get on the piano?
So she couldn't actually perform it on the piano because the day before, I went to the last of the 3 days here at Gillette Stadium. The second day, the day before my day, it was a downpour the entire day. Like crazy, it poured. And she performed the whole way through. And I guess what happened is the piano got like damaged because it literally started playing on its own. And she was like freaking out like live while performing. It's just like, what the fuck? I didn't touch anything in its playing. So she's like, whatever, I could just play it on guitar. She played Red. I would have gotten a very sad piano rendition of Red, but instead I got a pretty good acoustic version of Red. It's fine. I love Red. Great song. Great song. I will say, as far as the eras go, I'm very disappointed. Speak Now only got 1 song. It was Enchanted.
Good song.
Great song, but come on, give me some more. I need more. And then look, man, everything was beautiful. Everything was great. Everything was really well done. Personally, I think the best like era that she performed of the bunch was 1989.
That's fair.
The way that she did it, like I thought of all the performances, that was the best era for her.
Yeah,
I'm a folklore Swiftie, so when she brought out like a cabin type thing, and she started off with The One, and she was singing it while laying down on top of the cabin, and I was like, "Fucking you go, girl."
Yeah. So would you say that the day was a fairy tale?
It was a movie. It was an absolute movie. I got very lucky that my girlfriend's friend got hit on the pre-sale for that and then we got tickets for that specific day. Because that's the day I wanted, because Gracie Abrams was going to be there only for that day. And so, yeah, we got great seats just to the side of the stage for like $200. I didn't even have to go and we were really close. I didn't have to go crazy with it. The only issue that I had was really the leaving. It was really difficult leaving.
Yeah, I assume it's like leaving WrestleMania.
I got a parking lot. Like I got my reserve. I reserved at a parking lot that's just outside of the stadium. So like it took like 20 to 30 minutes to walk to. Okay. It took a little longer to walk there. It probably was a half hour after, just because there was like a huge crowd, so you're not moving as fast.
A ton of people.
And then once we got to my car, just to leave the parking lot, I was stationary for 53 minutes. Did not move. Turned on my car. Did not move. 53 minutes. Yeah, so it was almost 1 a.m. by the time I actually left that parking lot, and then we were moving probably 5 miles per hour just down this road for like another half hour ish, until the road split off, where it's just like you can either keep going on this roadway or go onto the highway. Nobody took the roadway except me and like 2 other cars, and thankfully I just gunned it all the way back home. I ended up going to sleep until like fucking 4 a.m, but was worth it. Taylor was great. I do not recommend paying an arm and a leg for resale tickets should you still want to attend and do not have tickets. But look, man,
if you got tickets, get ready.
Yeah, if you have tickets, know that it's going to be absolutely fucking worth it. Taylor Swift delivered. I cannot emphasize that enough. She is, in my opinion, at the peak of her powers right now. Like, that woman could do no wrong. And she just puts so much thought into it. She's really good at this shit.
It's almost like it makes sense that she's the biggest star in the world currently. It's almost like it all makes sense.
She's like the biggest recording artist in the world right now, and it makes sense. She's a hell of a performer.
That's why we talked about her on a podcast about Gene Snitsky. God dang it. That's why. Thank you for listening this week as we dove into the career of Gene Snitsky. Be sure to follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube so that way you can get all that good content, that extra stuff. We're back next week with Ahmed Johnson. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you then.
Bye.